Sure. My name is Andrej Litvinjenko. I'm a JD MA candidate here at the Norman Patterson School of International Affairs and at the University of Ottawa Faculty of Law. So I was looking at a very interesting issue. November 25th, 2015, the United States legalized mining in outer space of asteroids and planets. And my paper was looking at the issue of, first, is this actually legal? And secondly, if it is legal, how could you go about implementing this piece of US legislation in accordance with international law? So I think it's a very important issue to discuss because in that piece of legislation, the US president was given 180 days to report back to Congress with a report on how space mining can be implemented in accordance with US international obligations. And so while there are criticisms of space mining technology is 10 to 15 years away, that's irrelevant. The president has to give this plan within a certain amount of days, and I think it's prudent to have as many voices as possible on this issue to get into discussion of how this piece of legislation can be implemented. Yes. So there were 3 recommendations I included in my paper. The first had to do with this policy framework that the U.S. eventually introduces for it to be something similar to a piece of legislation they had in the 1980s on the deep seabed, which would have included provisions on how U.S. companies can operate safely, how they can make sure that they take care of the environment, how they can make sure not to infringe any international obligations, a liability framework. The second recommendation was, regardless of how the U.S. decides to do this, to make sure that they have the avenue open to include other states so they can make a multilateral framework. Currently, there's no international treaty specifically on space mining, so it would be prudent, as they're developing their own, as Luxembourg and China, who are interested in space mining as well, that they start aligning their different pieces of legislation to lead towards a treaty that other countries can then comment on and integrate into. And the last recommendation was in the spirit of cooperating and sharing with other states for the United States to conduct itself in a fair manner, in a transparent manner, and to make sure that it makes this technology available on a commercial basis and not to preclude access for other countries.